All right, beautiful. There we go. All right. So, what do I see here? Dan, good to see you. So, what do I see here? I see some interesting things on the SPY chart. This is the daily chart. This is the 10-period moving average. It is staying above its 10 for whatever that's worth. I put that on there quickly. I tried to put a bear call today, but was taken out when the market suddenly dropped late in the afternoon. Choppy market. Yeah. Um, Maybe your bear call was a little bit tight, 560. Yeah, it is kind of tight. Um, just a thought. So I see a consolidation here, or in for me, it's a flag, but it's a nice consolidation right at this all-time high of 565.16. And what do I see here? I see a bit of a bearish divergence because the stochastic is moving down, but yet the um, market is going sideways. So we can look at it two ways. I can also call this a bullish divergence because the stochastic is saying it's getting weak, but yet price is not going down. Interesting from both points of view, but the bottom line is it is still somewhat overbought. It's pulled off its overbought highs, and it is hanging around that all-time high. It hasn't pulled back to the 20, which is really here, and the 50, which is here, has not pulled back to that yet. We had some funky news today. In fact, I'm going to change this back to the 20. We had some funky news today, obviously, NVIDIA. The guidance was poor. The numbers were good, but the guidance was poor. And like I've said many, many times before, the market doesn't care that much about earnings because earnings are history. It's the last quarter. The market is more focused on the guidance that stocks look at going forward. The guidance that management tells in the conference call describes how they feel about the next quarter or two. In this case, the guidance wasn't so hot. So you could have the best quarter in the universe. You could blow out the numbers by a zillion percent. But if the company says, yeah, but the next quarter or two doesn't look quite as good, maybe not as good, maybe there's reasons, maybe there's specific reasons, maybe a product is going to be delayed. Maybe a product that came out and the sales weren't very or looking to be very good. Um, Maybe there's a strike, which we don't see too much anymore, or maybe raw material costs have gone up more than what was projected. This is what the market's more interested in. What was the news on what, Sandy? On NVIDIA? Yeah, they came out with their earnings. And of course, they had a conference call and guided forward, and the guidance forward was not so hot. So, exactly what the guidance was, yeah, that I don't know. I don't listen to conference calls. I'm not a fundamentalist. I'm a chartist. So, but this, of course, this is what I read. Um, so here we are. The Dow, the SPY did not put in any new highs yet. 565 was the high. We got very close a couple of days ago. We got to a high of 563.91, only pennies away. Um, Well, Sandy, remember, NVIDIA is a very well watched, big cap, lot of money, AI driven type of stock. Everybody's kind of focused on AI. Everybody's focused on a stock like NVIDIA. Um, and so the earnings are very important, and the guidance for it is very important to the market in general. Absolutely. Um, how can they grow every year at the same rate that they did last year? Marcus was disappointed. Well, yeah, uh, PJ, you're right. This is tough. Look, when a stock goes up that much, when they uh, rise up to 150, 200%, whatever NVIDIA's been up here in the last so many months or year, um, it has to continue to perform, which is very hard to do. Absolutely. And the expectations for the market are very high. It's easy to disappoint, no doubt about it. So, that's pretty much what's happened here. Yeah, well, Stephen, yeah, I'm not a big guess guy. I worked in the casinos for 25 years. A lot of different positions. I was a craps dealer when I started. I was a box man, floor man. I was a pit boss. I ran a pit. I was a shift boss. I ran the entire shift. Um, Ran down the casinos, told the bosses what they won or um, lost. But that's the difference between a gambler and a trader. Gamblers go into a casino knowing that the odds are stacked against them. They're looking to get lucky. Traders look for probability. So, yeah, I don't know that it was actually a guess, but I mean, earnings are guesses, really. I mean, earnings are tough. Very hard to predict anybody's earnings. Very hard. And it's also very hard to predict how the market will react to them. Sometimes earnings come out, quote unquote, crappy, and yet the stock still bounces. Why? Because remember, we're looking at big money. Big money might, for instance, let's say the word on the street for, and I'm just going to tell you, say Apple was $1 a share. I'm just making this up. That's the word on that's the consensus on the street. And Apple comes out with 103. And we're like, woohoo, yeah, go Apple, man. They announce their earnings before the market opens, and we're like, whoa, that's good. That's excellent. Then Apple opens up down $10. Why? Well, first of all, because their guidance might have been crappy. And second of all, because the big money people don't care about the guidance on the street. They got their own numbers and they wanted $1.05. And we're never going to know what these guys want. Never. So, uh, casinos do always win in the long run, Sandy, no doubt about it. Yep. And they don't win every day. I know that for a fact. Sometimes someone will get in, big money person, they get lucky, they'll win a bunch of money. One day, casino might have a bad run. It's possible, but you're right. At the end of the month, at the end of the year, they keep their percent, the percent they're looking for. No doubt about it. So anyway, earnings very hard to predict. So that's why I don't keep my trades before earnings. I'm out of a trade that's profitable before earnings because I don't want to be involved in that earnings scenario. Not at all. All right. Wheeler, good to see you. Um, so so again, yeah, Nvidia was a big number. Also, of course, the Fed is still lurking in the background, and all the information, all the inputs for the Fed are still lurking in the background. Um, let's take a look at forex.com. So, Forex Factory. So, this is today, and we had GDP 3%, which is a good number. It's a strong, healthy economy, which could scare it's always that double-edged sword. Well, that's good. This is good news. We don't want to see a crappy economy. We don't want to see a recession, but will the Fed reduce interest rates in light of um, a strong economy? We'll see. Do they think it's too strong? Maybe. Um, so also we have unemployment claims, which are low, but it's amazing now how all of a sudden the numbers are right on the money. This is what was forecast, and this is what actually came in. 233 versus 231. It's interesting since they just had that huge change, a drawdown reversal in 810,000 or so in the employment figures over the last year. Um, So, the Fed's looking at how strong and how weak this is. The Fed's looking how strong and how weak this is. All this stuff is so important to the Fed. We had pending home sales. This is showing weakness. This is showing strength. This is showing kind of both. So who really knows what the Fed's going to do? It's not my job as a trader to try to figure that out. It's my job as a trader to look at the market and see how does the market react to these numbers. All right. And also tomorrow, remember, we have, where is it? We have GDP. Where's my pen? That's the question. There we go. See, oh, it's here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Core uh, personal consumption expenditures. Big, big input to the Fed for inflation, reading inflation. This is tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Big number, right? So, and then remember, next Friday, yes, it will be next Friday. Next Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Ray, good to see you. Um, Non-farm payroll, non-farm payroll, big, big number. That's the monthly employment figures for the country, excepting, of course, farm. Um, and that's another big, big input. So we have a lot of information coming into the Fed before the next Fed meeting, which is right, I forget the date, it's around the middle of September. And so that could easily change those dynamics and those inputs and then what the Fed's going to do with interest rates, which the market is still hanging on. The Fed, I mean, the market definitely is expecting at least 25 basis points, which is a quarter of a point, quarter of 1%. But they would really like to see zero point 0.5. I don't think they're say 50 basis points, a half a percent. I don't think they're going to see it. But then, again, what do I know? That's not my expertise. All right. So um, that's not tomorrow. That's the following. It's always the first Friday of the month, 8:30 a.m. Always keep an eye out for that. All right. So anybody, questions? Anyone? Thoughts, ideas? Yeah, BJ could be. But then remember, that's where it looks now to a large degree, but there's a lot of information to come around to the Fed before, October and November and even the end of the year. So those numbers could change over time. So hard to predict that stuff. If you look at that Fed Watch website, I mean, the percent that they're saying, I mean, every week it's a 25% basis points cut is 90% probable. Next week it's 22% probable. Then it's 54% probable. Every week it changes depending on what news comes out. All right. So that's the Fed watch. Tomorrow does end the month. Absolutely. Um, well, not the quarter, but it does end the month. Now, again, here we are. The S&P 500 so close, but did not put in a new high yet. The Dow has, in fact, more than once. There is your old high. They put in a new high. Uh, was that Monday? Yeah, Monday. There, and then again today, new all-time high. So the Dow is more of a defensive oriented index, um, which kind of makes sense. And to see if we're really weekly. Let's see. Double top, you mean right here? Yeah. Oh, SPY. Hold on a second. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, for sure, because it has not broken that out to that new high yet. So, we'll see. The whole idea now is does the SPY follow the Dow or does the Dow come down and follow the SPY if the SPY breaks down? So usually the big indexes are going to follow each other. It's always best when they're kind of in the same vein, but even the Qs are nowhere near an all-time high. So you got two down and one up. We'll see. I mean, the IWM hasn't been close for quite some time. So we'll see. This is a lot of uncertainty in this market. Um, but that's all good. We have to see. One of the keys right now would certainly be if the SPY breaks through. And I mean, it's pennies away. Absolutely pennies away. I mean, again, today's high was um 563.68. I mean, it's a dollar and a half. I mean, that's like, it can do a dollar and a half in 15 seconds. It could break through there in no time. A couple 5 minutes. It's pennies away. We did have a pullback in the stochastic, so we're not completely overbought now. We've got a little breather there, so we'll see. We will see. Hold on, guys, 1 second. Okay. All right. Breakthrough here would be very nice. This along with the Dow and a new high would be very, very nice. We'll see. Again, the thought was that if NVIDIA wasn't screaming higher, that this would maybe get a gap down. We did not. The market's hanging in there. The Dow is up to a new high. We'll see. Let's take a look at the groups. Let's see how defensive we've been. Go to FinViz, go to groups. I call them sectors. And so today, what do we have? No, nothing. Here's consumer defensive. Here's healthcare, utilities, not screaming higher. 1 week, of course, I'm just interested in today, but 1 week still, same thing. Utilities, consumer defensive, and healthcare, all kind of down here. Market is not, according to the groups, not all that concerned about what's happening. So interesting. Energy, top of the list. We got a lot of stuff happening over there in the Middle East, which could affect the price of oil. Nothing's happened yet. This is a chart of oil right here. And nothing yet. I think we did hit 80, but then it pulled back. Let's see if I can make this work. High was 77. I don't know. Somebody said they saw it at 80, but I haven't seen it at 80. 80 is all the way up here. So no, it hasn't hit 80. Not much of a move really in oil, but something to keep an eye on. Definitely something to keep an eye on. A big pop in oil would be interesting for oil stocks, not so interesting for the market itself. All right. So groups, we'll do a couple scans here before I scoot. So Miguel, Steve, I think you both, do you mind if I talk about the trade that you guys took today? The one in the chat? Okay. Steven? Oh, good. What is it? PLTR? So what I see, now these are in tech, so related, I'm sure, to NVIDIA. Okay, very good. Now we had a little doji bar here, a little tail. It's not really a doji bar. It is sitting right on a 20-period moving average, and it is definitely oversold. So this may put in what's called a V bottom. Of course, it's not a recommendation. We know that. This might put in what's called a V bottom. I'm more of a consolidation bottom like this one. Forget this, just for a picture where the price runs up and then pulls back and puts it in at least 3 days. But a V bottom can be very interesting too, obviously. So you have these things in your favor, no doubt, right? Price came down to here and popped, and then the buyers came back in again today, but then sellers came in at the end of the day, pushed it down a bit. But anytime you're hanging on to 20, that's usually a good idea. You can see where it bounced off the 20, bounced off the 20, then it became resistance, and now it's bounced off again and oversold. So could be interesting. You guys have any other thoughts on that? Anything that you were thinking about that I missed? Okay, very good. Let's see what it did during the day. So yeah, there's the pop and there's the pullback. So again, that's why the daily looks like this, because it opened here and it closed here. So you've got that, right? You've got that pop. So it opened here, closed here, but yet it went all the way here for the high, which is the high of the little tail, and it closed down here. So there was a pullback to the close. Hold on one second. Let's see what you guys said. Have other services all giving trades on PLTR. Yep, absolutely. All right. Oh, PST. So that's 9:48. Okay, so you got in here right right about in here. These are 5 minutes, so this is 9:30. Yeah, maybe right in here. Probably a little bit higher. Let's see, where's 9:45? That's 10 o'clock. That's 9:50. So you got in right in here somewhere. All right. Yeah, I don't know, PG. I don't know. I don't know. Scott will be coming on here in about 15, 20 minutes. So you can ask him. I don't know where that is. Right. So that's a bit of a pullback. NVIDIA, I believe, did the same thing ish. Yeah. So NVIDIA opened up, bounced around, but then was down for the whole day. I'm going to have to get on that email list. I'm going to talk to Scott. Oh, Meta. Let's take a look. Okay. Same basic trade setup here. You've got of course, Meta's been a little choppy. You got a run up, a pullback, a run up. You got a double high here and sitting right on the 20. Again, same thing here. You had some buyers come in here, then you had a reversal at the end of the day here, and it is oversold. So interesting. Now, this one's a little bit more interesting for me because now I can call this of course, I would start it here. I would call this a consolidation. If we get another bar in here, and then we get a little break above there, that's more of a run up and a pullback for me. I wish it had been more like this. I could have called this, but still would have to break out through there. But it's always the lowest low that starts the bottom of the consolidation. And I need 3 days minimum. Yeah, yeah, a lot of pullback. All right, very good. Um, I have a couple I wanted to talk about real quick. I think we covered all this. Um, Walmart, for you guys and girls who missed that the first time I talked about it. I've talked about this once before, but there's new faces in here tonight, so which is great. This is a earnings gap. They announced their earnings, the price gapped up, which is very common. Of course, so are gap downs. Um, and then what we have here, because I'm a pattern trader, this is a flag right here, right? Flag pattern, right? Because it looks like a flag. You put it in there, and then you put a little thing here, and a couple of stars and stripes. You got a flag. All right, so you got a earnings gap, which means the big money people are very interested because big money guys are fundamentalists. They're very earnings oriented. So that's good. That's fine. So we know they're very excited because that's what makes stocks gap. And then it goes sideways for a while. Maybe they're, I don't know, moving positions or trying to decide what they want to do, or who knows. And then we get a little breakout here. I took that trade and boom, I'm out of it now. But it was a nice trade. Gap, flag, post earnings. You can scan for these in FinViz. Not exactly, but you can scan for earnings in the past 5 days or past week, and then you can see if you see this pattern forming. It can be, no guarantee, but it can be a high probability trade. All right. Now we have another flag forming here. It's a bit overbought. Be careful. And it is a bit away from its 50 period moving average. Now, of course, it was about that far all this way too. So, although this is a little further, but still a little overbought. So I would be cautious, but it's still on my list. Good, Sandy. Good, good. Let me know if you found any that you like. We'll talk about them. All right. So that's the old gap and flag. Apple. I never heard of this stock before. Oh, yeah, I guess I have. So again, we have a pull and boom and a boom, and whoop, flag right here. All right. Consolidation sitting right on a 20, pretty much on a 20. Just a little pullback in the stochastic. I like to see a little bit more, at least halfway, but nothing's perfect. Yeah, XOM, hold on, we'll talk about that. PJ in a minute. It did break out today, so interesting. Could be something for a watch list. Even if you demo it, keep and see what happens. Now you do have the all-time high here, so you got a little room. Even if it just went to there and stopped, you have a little bit of room. Let's go. Well, XLE is the energy sector, which is ugly choppy. Not a whole lot here. Had an update today. Stuck in the middle for the stochastic. Stuck in the middle of this consolidation right here. Yeah, not screaming anything at the moment for me. XOM, ExxonMobil, got a big stay. Big consolidation here. You can see a tremendous amount of very identifiable resistance, tremendous amount of very identifiable support, and stuck in the middle. A breakout above here could be very interesting. Again, just like the XLE, stochastic stuck in the middle. I'd rather see it down here. So we'll see. Not a whole lot here, though, PJ. And certainly interested in your thoughts, PJ. What do you think? Knee, another energy stock. This one a little bit different. This is a flag right here. All right. Again, a little pullback. Still, I don't like to take trades, long trades when the stochastic is pointing down. It's just my personal trade plan. It is trying to hold the 20 period moving average. That's the yellow one. It is at resist. I wish I could draw a straight line. It is at resistance. Makes this interesting because now if you have this flag breakout, you would also have it breaking out above pat. In fact, geez, we even have this over here. You can see this. you're breaking out to a new high. You have basically a triple top here, and you have a flag altogether. Interesting. But we have to see. It would only be based on a breakout of those levels. It's not like something you would just take and say, well, it hasn't broken out yet, but I believe it will. No. I have people tell me all the time. I said, why did you take this trade? Not this trade, but some trade. And they said, well, I had a feeling it was going to go up. And I said, no, that's not anything to do with trading. That's indigestion. When you feel that, that's indigestion, has nothing to do with trading. So, we don't trade on feelings. We trade what we see on the chart. So for me as a trader, I would need a breakout here. Otherwise, it may just do this. And so why would I want to buy it here if there's still a good possibility of this? Now, don't get me wrong. It could still do this and still do that. There's no guarantee in trading. But this would indicate a high probability, especially if we get a little pullback here, get this starting to move up, and then a little break above price. Price is number one for me, but still I like the indicator going in my direction. Report. Um, maybe. True enough. I mean, we're in a downtrend. We did bounce into the moving average, bounced right off it. We have a lot of support here. We got a lot of resistance here and a little bit of resistance here. And the stochastic is moving down. Yep, could. But gold's been strong. I didn't look at it today much, but it was up again today. Put in a brand new high, all-time high, and little pullback. This could be interesting. Yeah. We got another day here for me. That would be a 3-day pullback. Again, we're getting this, get a little some of this going. Sitting on a 20-period moving average. Like I said, it did break through here, and it did break through here. The weekly is somewhere. Come here. Not an all-time high, not by any means, but at least, and this is the gold miners. But see monthly, it has been higher. There's no doubt. Our goal was $1 zillion higher, but we have this huge consolidation right here on the monthly. So still a lot of resistance all through here. But shorter term, this could be interesting. Something for a watch list. FCX. Yeah, it could. But then you might fill this gap too. I'm not a gap filler. And I just believe in price. Certainly if it breaks this support area, then it probably will fill the gap. But that's for me, it's because it broke support, not because it wants to fill that gap. That's just the way I do it. Everybody's a little bit different. A lot of people talk about filling gaps. Yeah, I don't think that stock has to. Um, but definitely a lot of support right here. Um, what else? What about a little scan? Let's Sandy, before I go, let's scan here a little bit for those post earnings. All right. FinBiz scan free. You can do a paid version if you want. I don't. So this is the default. Go right here to screener, finviz.com. I like above 20, but everybody's different. You don't have to. I want an optionable stock. All right. You could scan for sectors if you wanted to, but let's not do that. Let's go to earnings date right here too. So we're going to look for this gap flag. Let's go. Let's see. Let's go previous 5 days. Still Whoa, get out of the way. Still 84 pages. Too many for me. So let's go over here to technical right here. And let's just see if we can find something that's above its moving averages. 10%. Well, that might be too much. Let's go just above. Go away. Let's go just above the 50, the 20 to 50, and the 200. All right. And let's see what happens if we put a pattern in here. No, too much. Let's go. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's go with a gap. All right. There's a gap up. We'll see if that helps. All right. So let's just see. Now there's a gap and no flag. Just buzz through these. If I see one, I'll stop. Whoop. And this is what's nice about FinViz. You can just hover over the symbol and take a look. No, I thought earnings was here. Now this is a flag, and it is post earnings now. So, kind of interesting. We got a lot of resistance here with all these peaks right here. So, I'll pass. All right. So this is what we're looking for, except obviously no flag yet. If we put a couple days next to it, if Friday and Monday go here, and then we got this, there's your gap and flag. Could be interesting. Flag doesn't have to be 3 days. I just use 3 days as a minimum. It can go on for weeks. And we're not getting too many today. Nope, nope, nope. That's not the, I thought that was the gap. I mean, the earnings gap. Nope. And nope. Let's take this off. I think we're going to get the same thing. Let's go back over here and let's go to previous week. And see if we get something else. Whoop. No, that's not the one I saw. Keys. Ah, here we go. So here's earnings, which is right here. There's your earnings gap. There's your flag. It's still forming a flag. Maybe one for watch list, but again, it's shoo, man, you have an absolute ton of resistance here. And again, can be interesting if this breaks above this flag, which would also be a break above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My goodness, wow, does this stock have a lot of resistance here? That could be interesting. Could be very interesting. Something to put on a watch list. You could put in an OCO and say, hey, I'll buy it only if it's at one. What is that number there? One above 160. Big round number. Maybe put it in at 161, something like that. Hmm, This is a little higher, but that still might do it. So just a thought, watch list, way to put in your demo. You're welcome, Sandy, always. Put in a demo account and just see what happens. Demo accounts are great, guys. Don't discount a demo account. Tremendous amount of ability. And if anybody's a golfer here, demo account is just like the driving range at the golf course. Same thing. You go there to practice and get better. Nobody asks you what your score is when you walk off the driving range. It's not a scoring thing. It's a practice thing. All right. Um, so any last questions, ladies and gentlemen, before I go? Remember, keep an eye on, you guys are certainly welcome. Um, keep an eye on something. What the heck is it? Uh, keep an eye on this tomorrow. This can be interesting. All right, core PCE, a little GDP month over month. Even this stuff can be a little interesting, but again, it's always about, for me, it's always about how does the market react? All right. Be well, everybody. Scott is here, and I will see. Hmm.